I know that sounds like the LA Lakers. Oh yeah, there's no stopping us now. But I'll tell you what, it takes discipline. This whole thing is about discipline. This whole thing is about making a commitment and sticking with that commitment. And it's not easy to do. That's why it's such a benefit when it occurs. It's like there are things that we know are good for us to do, and there are things that we know are not good for us to do. There's things that we have to kind of grow into the knowledge of understanding, and there's just some things that probably we're born knowing that it's not good to do. I don't know what some of those things are because I think we're taught most of the things in life that are good for us and not good for us. That's why one of the big issues that we have in society right now is, what do we let people tell our children? What do we let people provide our children with in terms of orientation about how to get along with the rest of the world? Usually we would say, well, it's up to the parent. But man, right now, our vision is distracted. Our natural vision is distracted by marketers, by people who are telling us what to eat, what to drink, how to think, all of that stuff. And I'm part of that deal. I'm here to kind of help guide you along the values that I think are cool, and hopefully, we're in agreement on most things. But as I was speaking to my son this morning, we're not supposed to agree and see everything the same way because we're not standing in the same place. So we need each other's opinion. We need each other's view to understand what's going on. One of the things we're talking about is tobacco. Well, Pop, there's indigenous people who use tobacco for religious and rituals. And I say, yeah, I understand all of that. I said, but that's not the people we're talking about. We're talking about the people who are making our kids want to smoke cigarettes. So I said, you got two beautiful daughters. Do you want to smoking cigarettes or chewing tobacco? Well, no, well, of course not. So those are, we make decisions, and we want to stand by those. Our federal government made a semi-decision in 2009. Said they're going to ban tobacco and flavored cigarettes and things of that sort. My son said, well, that was just a threat to make the tobacco companies give up some more money to fight tobacco or pretend to fight tobacco. So we're a civilized nation, so we got to be transparent. We got to go in both directions on this thing. So we have battles that are based on our being civilized, and how are we going to work this out? Well, when you start trying to get my kids to smoke cigarettes and chew tobacco, I don't think that's very civilized. We need to do something about that. So we've got groups, we've got state laws. We're here in the state of California. We've got a situation where we've got the federal laws, you got the state laws, and then we're encouraging the cities to make rules and policies that will, keep our kids safe from those folks who are trying to market this tobacco, candy flavored, cute stuff. Man, so I have contacted our friend Carol Magruder. She's with an organization, the African American Tobacco Control Leadership Council, to talk with us occasionally about this tobacco use reduction. We want to stop that. Well, they've got a thing set up now called Menthol Sunday, No Menthol Sunday, and we've got Miss Carol Magruder and we've got Reverend Rodney Nichols to talk to us a little bit about No Menthol Sunday. Carol, how are you this morning?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so happy to be with you. Can you hear me all right?
I hear you wonderfully. And
okay, because your volume is low for me, but I want to make sure you can hear me.
Okay, you can't hear me too well?
No, it's kind of low.
Oh,
I've done all kinds of adjustments on my end, but I can hear you well enough if you can hear me okay.
Oh, we can turn it up over here.
Eric, okay, that's better.
That's a lot better?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. You let us know if we get too loud. I get excited over here. I don't want to.
All right.
Carol, the concept, the problem with cigarettes and tobacco, it's a problem because it's such a successful thing as far as the tobacco industry is concerned, and they make a lot of tax money and they do a whole lot of stuff I've got some things that we've agreed to talk about, so I want to get to talking about those. And if you've got a little time afterwards, we can explore some additional policy concerns about this
Yes.
about tobacco. Because
Okay.
okay, and let's introduce Reverend Rodney. Is Reverend Rodney available now?
Sir, I'm here this morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, not as good as I could hear Carol. Can we work on that? Let's try to get him all potted up as well. Reverend Pastor Rodney Nichols, he's pastor of the Garden of Praise Christian Fellowship. Carol, as we're waiting for them to kind of get Reverend Rodney in, could you tell us about this No Menthol Sunday? What is that all about?
Certainly. So, no menthol Sunday. So, first of all, just listening to your intro, I can tell that you have been actually really reading up on this very, very complex issue that really touches every aspect of our lives as Black folks in this country, in America. So there's so many different things going on, and it's confusing. And so I have enough time. It's Mother's Day. I have enough time to spend so we can try to clarify some of the confusion. But what we're here to talk about right now is No Menthol Sunday. So No Menthol Sunday is the African American expression of World No Tobacco Day. And World No Tobacco Day is actually an international observance that's led by the World Health Organization for countries across the world, across the planet, to take a day to have a World No Tobacco Day observance, and that tobacco touches the world's lives as well. So No World Tobacco Day falls on May 31st, which is not a good holiday for Americans because we have Memorial Day, and that bumps up against it 3 or 4 years out of 7. So we as African Americans said, well, let's take it out and let's have our own expression. And No Menthol Sunday is really about getting our spiritual and religious institutions to get on board to stop the number one killer of African Americans, of Black people in this country, taking 45,000 souls every year directly, and that's not including secondhand smoke. And then if I pass away, the effect that has on my family as we go into Mother's Day here, the importance of our mothers and our grandmothers and our families. And that's those are the people that are being stolen from us by the tobacco industry cartel, I call them. So that's what No Menthol Sunday is.
Number one killer of African Americans, tobacco-related health issues?
Yes, more than everything else that we think of as a problem combined. So that's more than the other forms of cancer that are non-related, car accidents, homicide, officer-involved shootings, car accidents, more than all of those things combined. Suicide, yes, all of that combined.
That's amazing. I remember, however, the first time, I grew up in an era where there was smoking areas in our high school. I mean, guys walked around with a pack of cigarettes rolled up in their shirt sleeve, just like we saw on TV, like we saw in the movies, and it was not, it wasn't banned, it was encouraged. Even at 18, we were expected to go sneak and buy some beer and smoke some cigarettes, and it was acceptable.
Right, and it was considered a rite of passage.
Yes,
like this is what you do to become an adult, to become a man or to become a woman, and that's one of the things that the tobacco industry has really been able to tie into is that the rebelliousness of youth. The rite of passage that this is, you're a real man now, you're a real woman, and these are the things that you do, which is to start the long path of killing yourself.
Yeah, but that's the power of marketing, the power of being told what to do at a young enough age. I mean, I guess this is why we do a lot of things to young people, put them in the Army, put them in a lot of, before they get to thinking well. But then again, we find that some of these people get 65 and 70, and there's, that's what they want. Along with their oxygen tank, bring me a pack of cigarettes.
Yes.
So the concept
is a testament to the power of the addiction.
Yes, it is. So the idea of going into the churches where we operate basically on faith is probably a good thing. Give me again the date of the No Menthol Sunday.
So the actual date for us that we celebrated is May 21st. So that's a Sunday, a week, I guess next Sunday. And so May 21st, what we say we want No Menthol Sunday can be every day. So we, as a Christian, we celebrate on Sundays, but we encourage our Muslim people of faith, our Jewish people of faith, the Seventh-day Adventists. So whatever day is your day to celebrate your higher being, your higher power, we want to encourage this conversation. And the conversation leads to actions, because once people of faith and people of courage really learn about the complex issues of this whole scenario that's been visited upon us, they get involved, and that's the point. Is we need our churches, we need our religious faith institutions involved to fight back against the tobacco industry and what they've been doing to us.
My memory of Reverend Vonador at Mount Olive Baptist Church, where I was baptized when I was 8, 9 years old, kind of indicated, and Pastor Nichols, I'm talking to you now, kind of indicated that we come in on Sunday to charge up, and you're supposed to keep the message.
Yeah, basically.
You're supposed to keep that message. I'm not here to just, are you not, young Allen boy, you ain't supposed to just be good on Sunday. You're supposed to take what we talk to you on Sunday and carry this all the way through the week. And that's how,
right.
And I guess with this No Tobacco Sunday, that's where we wanted to go as well. Pastor Nichols, why is this such an issue for you and your church to get involved with No Menthol Sunday?
Well, speaking from the standpoint of, or the point of view of an asthmatic, I'm someone with asthma, and that is the worst thing that you can literally be connected to, be around a bunch of people that's smoking, because not only does it trigger asthma, it'll trigger you're already struggling with your lungs trying to breathe. But then when you're around that, then the other thing is when you have people that are more focused with, when I saw somebody buy some cigarettes a couple of days ago, and cigarettes at $10 a pack.
Man.
And I'm like, so you're really, really, really this addicted to this that you'll spend $10 on helping yourself to become sick. And I don't get it. But it's important to us, especially not just an asthmatic, but I'm also a vocalist. And when I have my young people that are coming up in the ranks of singing, and I share with them, don't alter by trying to fit in. Don't alter your livelihood. Don't alter your abilities to be a blessing by trying to fit in with someone doing something that you know is not good for you, something that's harmful for you. So that tobacco, that smoke in these different flavors and all this other kind of stuff, it is enticing to the kids. And what we tend to try to do is we tend to try to keep them focused on things that are more positive. But at the same time, platforms like this helps them to understand just how detrimental it can be over a period of time. I'm looking at the new commercials that are out when you see the people with the trachs and all of the oxygen tanks, but we still don't find enough of our people that are heeding those warnings.
I remember seeing that commercial, I don't know, it seems like 900 years ago at this point, but the first time I saw that commercial where the lady put the cigarette directly into her throat,
right?
I had been trying to be cute with a cigarette. But after that one, I said, oh, no, we got to do something else to be cute. This is not going to work. But it's interesting how people respond to the message. Pastor Nichols, this will be your second No Menthol Sunday? How does that work with the church?
No, this will actually be our first one actually being active.
Okay, so how do you anticipate bringing this message, mixing it in, and once again, is your target audience the younger people or the older souls?
You know what? The message is across the board the same for everyone. We would put more emphasis on our younger, because right now they're the ones that's under the most peer pressure to try to be like them, especially with the candy flavors, e-cigarettes, and all of this other stuff. They're more easily susceptible to falling into that just because of the pressure that they have with their friends and things around school. So the message across that would simply be when the Bible says that we are to present our bodies as a living sacrifice. And so in that, sharing with them that not just cigarettes and the different things, or should we say, not just the known sins that people talk about that pollute our body, but put emphasis on this is one that people don't believe is bad for you because it's what do they call it? It's legal to smoke a cigarette, so how could it be bad for you? What could be wrong with it?
You don't
we
believe,
have to drive them.
when they give us that answer, it's kind of hard not to turn your eyes sideways and look at them and say, "Come on."
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
how can you breathe it in, cough 3 or 4 times, and blow it out, and tell me that it's good for you? Of course, I guess one of the cigarette companies used to say that it's good for you, good to you, and good for you. And people and marketing. I think the thing is that many of us feel that our government is going to protect us and not let anybody lie to us about anything commercial, because at some point we used to hear reports about a consumer protection agency and understood that there were going to be people out there that stopped us from hearing messaging that was harmful to us ultimately. But
Right.
we're a democracy. That doesn't happen. Now you guys had a virtual no menthol Sunday. How did that go? How effective do we think this is? Do we need to?
Well, we do it. This our No Menthol Sunday events. That every year they're just growing exponentially. So many of us who are in the field, we have what we call a kickoff event where we really explain how you get involved as a religious or spiritual institution. So that happened on May 4th.
Okay.
But you can go to our website, which is savingblacklives.org, savingblacklives.org, and you can actually watch the video that will show you how to do it. There is also a No Menthol Sunday website. So there's still a week away, and plus you don't have to do it on the 21st. You can do it after that. But the 21st is like our big common day. And one thing I love about our No Menthol Sunday is that you can go as big as you want or as small as you want. So you can have, I'm going to be in the Los Angeles area next Sunday. I'm going to visit some churches. You can have their scriptures, their sermons that are already focused and would help a pastor or the health committee to form exactly what they want to do on that day. And the point of this is to educate, who is the audience, is to educate our church families, but it's also to help our smokers know that there's help for them. And that, when you talked about the woman who used to smoke the cigarette through her throat, her name was Debbie, and I had the pleasure to meet her before she passed away. For her to share that this addiction is so strong that even though her larynx was taken out and she's breathing out of a hole in her neck, she was still smoking. And this is what we need people to understand, and this is why the focus on the youth, Pastor Nichols, is so important, because we have to prevent. We can't let people get addicted and then help them get off. We need to prevent it before it happens, and that's what. So this is two-pronged in that it's helping to prevent our young people from trying it and getting hooked on it, and it's also to help our people like my generation who think that they can't get off of it, that they can. And there are more and more resources to help our people to get off, because we want to work on the supply and we want to work on the demand. And that's where our faith institutions come into play, because they're in the community and they can also help offer some of the services that are going to be coming out as we're bringing services to the community level.
So I would imagine that in the church and any other institution, and as a salesman, I know that telling people what to do is not usually successful. Telling my kids what to do, whereas if I ask the right question, maybe their answer will lead them in the direction we want to go. Why do we smoke? I don't know. I'm thinking about church, and I'm thinking about, how can the pastor influence people to not smoke? I don't know. We ask for testimonials about many other things, maybe some testimonials about the benefits of smoking. And we find that nobody can stand up and give us.
You're right about it.
Okay. All right. Now, we got a bunch of cigarette smokers out here, I'm sure, and there's people telling us that don't smoke. Can I have somebody stand up and tell us the benefits of smoking? I'm sure that there's some great benefit. Maybe being a little sarcastic like that might help. But, Pastor, I'm going to want to talk to you and find out how you dealt with this, and, since it's an ongoing thing, I'd like to know how you feel about the response that you get and what we can do to support that, and how we can get other members of the congregation involved in talking to each other about that, because it's what do you think, Pastor, as you anticipate this level of
Well,
lesson?
that testimony idea, that's funny. That's but it's funny, but it's powerful.
Yes.
Because you never look at it from that standpoint. And for a minute, you're going to have people say he's being sarcastic. But then when they stop and think about it, or you have the other people that don't smoke that's backing that, they're saying, yeah. Now you have the attention of the young folks, because now they're looking at it being one way, but the seed is being planted another.
Right.
So they're looking at it as being, okay, what's getting ready to happen? Not realizing that the positive seed of those that are not smoking, that's in agreement with that, is planting that seed for them to know that smoking is bad. It's not something that is supported. It's not something that's going to be celebrated, but we are paying attention to it and we are taking note of it. And this is what we encourage you not to do.
Right. And Miss Carol.
So it's going to be interesting, but you have to have something. One good thing is we have several nurses that are in our congregation, and I have several school teachers. And the good thing about that is being able to come up with clever ways, because commercials are very clever when they're getting the attention, especially of the children, because they hit the kids at where they are. They hit the kids at what they love. And with that being said, they're more attracted to something that they enjoy. And we have to make it just as attentive and as attractive for them to pay attention to the don't do as the commercials.
Got to give them something. Got to give them something if you're going to take something away.
Exactly.
And we started this effort almost 30 years ago, the tobacco reduction, and so there's been progress on this thing, and at the same time we got progress. In 2009, the federal government said no more, we banned it. And the lobbyists from the tobacco company came back and said, oh, no, blah, blah, blah. And even in the state of California now, I understand it says no tobacco, no menthol sales. But at the same time, we're not criminalizing the people who smoke. And Pastor, like you said, you were in the store the other day and saw somebody buying cigarettes. Carol, there seems to be some type of conflict on the rules here. What kind of progress are we really making?
There's tons of progress, but we know that the industry always is going to fight back, and they're going to come back with something different and something new. So let me just go through the history a little quickly. In 2009, when President Obama signed the Tobacco Control Act, that gave the FDA the authority to regulate the tobacco industry, all flavors of combustible cigarettes were taken off of the market, except for menthol. Now, black people aren't the only people that smoke menthol, but 80 to 90% of black people who smoke a mentholated product, because those products were seeded and planted in our community. They were given away to our children as young as 9 years old. They co-opted our media. They are organizations. They gave money through philanthropy, and they brought this wall of silence. Mm-hmm. So when the Tobacco Control Act was signed and menthol was left in, then all the advocates and folks like myself, we rallied ourselves, and we began to engage our federal government. In the interim, the European Union took menthol off the market. Canada, our neighbor to the north, took menthol off the market. Ethiopia, Brazil, and so none of these countries have fallen into the sea. But when it came to America, all of a sudden it mattered that black people smoked menthol, and people who didn't know the history thought that they were trying to do something to us because we like menthol, and they're trying to take menthol away when they left menthol in. And menthol, it numbs your throat. It's an analgesic, so it's a painkiller, and it helps your body suppress its natural reaction to what happens when you put smoke in people's lungs, which will make them cough and choke. So that's the purpose that the menthol does. So we're not advocating for people to go up and smoke non-menthol, but if you take the menthol out, that's what helps the poison to go down into your body easier.
And all of these additives that they give.
They are additives.
If you're, and I'm not an advocate for smoking tobacco, but if you were smoking tobacco straight out of the fields, I don't know, but I think that's a different kind of circumstance, and it probably is not healthy for you, but it certainly is not as harmful.
It's a different animal because the tobacco industry, they have researched cigarettes to make them as addictive as possible, the way the filters, the way the air flows in, the different, they have acetaldehyde. They have things that basically make you freebase the nicotine so that it passes the blood-brain barrier quicker. And all of this is by design. And so that's why we need, we have to cut off the supply, but we also have to really educate our people that they need to do what it takes to get off of these deadly products that are killing us. And so our state has invested money, and I tell smokers, you've already paid for these services because you're paying a tobacco tax, and that's paying for these services to help you. So you should go on and partake in them because you've already paid for them. And so we have the Kick It California, which is online, kickitca.org. Will take you to a counselor, an individual counselor for you. The number that people can call who still like the phone is 800-300-8086. That's 800-300-8086. You can text, if you want it for the texters, to 66819. You can text I Can Quit, and that will engage a system that you have already paid for and that you need to take advantage of so that you can have a happy and a healthy life, and your family will have you and be able to enjoy you as you age.
One of the questions that my son asked this morning, he says, well, Pop, if the people stop smoking, the folks who are having a job telling us to stop smoking won't have a job anymore. So are they really sincerely trying to get people to stop smoking? I said, son, I believe that these people that are involved in getting you to stop smoking will find another job. And
we are trying to put ourselves out of work.
Right.
We are trying to put ourselves out of work, yes.
And I'd liken that to the, coming up, when I was coming up, it was the revolution, and our revolution was one that said since we didn't like the way things were going, if you were able to get hired by one of the places that was affecting the negative, your job was to lose the job because you were there to change the circumstance. And I have no problem understanding why we would be willing to lose whatever money that tobacco was giving us if tobacco would just go away.
Yeah,
but
we can. I just imagine the money that smokers spend, how many college educations that could pay for, how many homes that could buy, because we spend up billions of dollars on tobacco products that are killing us. So yes, we want to put ourselves out of business. The people who work in this field, and the other thing, when I'm lecturing all over the country, it's changing, but our public health system is kind of like the criminal defense system. In the criminal justice system, we're the defendant, and there are a whole bunch of people around us who make a living off of our misery. They're judges and bailiffs and correctional officers and sheriffs and police. And then on the public health side of it, we have researchers and we're funding millions of dollars of tobacco centers of regulatory science, and we're talking about pontificating about the dangers of this product and the nuances of it. When we know this kills us, and we don't need any more research, we don't need any more proof, and we need people to believe that and to do what it takes to get these people out of our community, because they're killing us, but they're also pillaging us, because they're taking millions of dollars of our resources and they're putting it in their pockets when that money could be going into our communities.
That's one of the big issues is what do we do with our knowledge? Do we use our knowledge to support those things that are good for us, or do we use our knowledge to justify our ignorance? And that's something that we have to be real concerned about. When I say that, when I say that, I want to once again throw, as I do every Sunday, the responsibility to the individual. Because as much as we would like to say the government is here to protect us, as much as we know that our parents want to protect us, we get to a certain point in life where we realize that the protection is going to be based on how much critical thinking we place and utilize as we put ourselves through life. The idea of education, the concept goes back to slavery, where it was against the law to even teach a black person how to read. Why? Because reading and learning will expose you to another level of thinking, an opportunity to think, to protect yourself, and more than that, to contribute to the society that we're operating in. We need each other, and we need to be able to bug each other when we see each other doing something crazy. If I'm talking to you and you see a little hangy in my nose, Carol, you know,
I'm going to tell you.
and if you don't tell me, and I go look in the mirror later, and I say, man, I was talking to Carol, she didn't tell me I look like, I'm not going to trust you. And this is why it's important for us to tell the truth to our loved ones, to the people that respect us. We can how do I look in this dress? Well, is this a good-looking coat? Well, you know, the coat is looking good hanging on the hanger. But there's something about the way you've been taking care of your body, and I'm not body shaming, but you did ask me how you look. And so we have to, we need to be willing to tell the truth and bite the bullet. It's Mother's Day. And I know that mothers that care don't want their kids smoking, and they don't want anybody smoking around them, and they don't want any smoke in the room when the kids come in 3 days after you were smoking. So I commend you for what you're doing. You're celebrating. Carol, are you a mother?
I'm a mother, and I'm here I'm in California, but I'm here in Atlanta with my daughter. I came to spend Mother's Day with her, so she came here to go to Clark to go to an HBCU and stayed.
Well,
so I am a mother, and I'm also an auntie, and I mother everybody. So as I've gotten older, I mother everybody, whether they want to be mothered or not.
That's right. That's right. And then
I'm mothering it as I go.
We appreciate that.
You know, and I want to say I lost my mom to breast cancer. She's been gone about 25 years, and it was painful. But if to think of, you know, if there had been an entity like we're doing research on what causes breast cancer and how do you keep from getting it, we know what kills people from tobacco. And it would be like if we looked at it in the way that if someone was selling breast cancer in a corner store, someone, everywhere you went, they were trying to entice you to do something that would cause you to have breast cancer. We would think that that was crazy. That would be unacceptable to have stores in our communities that sell our children breast cancer. But that's what we allow to happen, and that's this fight that we're in. It's about changing the community norm so that it's not normal to have all these liquor and cigarette stores in our community.
No,
it's not normal for when you get a certain age, this is what you do. So it's about the norm, and that's where our churches, I'm just so excited, come in, because it's about changing that narrative and for really to open people's eyes to see that we can't have our elected officials taking money from the tobacco industry. We can't have our colleges taking money from the tobacco industry because they're pimping us. They're taking $10 out of our community, and they give us back a nickel.
So we're trying to teach our children to have a morality, a morality that they don't necessarily see evidenced in the leadership of our nation. Ethics at the highest level is being discussed now in terms of our Supreme Court, in terms of those people that we have elected to represent us, those people who've been elected to represent a certain attitude, who get to Congress or get to wherever their elected state is and say, oh, I'm going to be somebody else now because I decided to do that. So there's this level of built-in reasoning for mistrust from the so-called leadership, and that's a battle that we have to fight. And we have to fight that and understand that people have a reason to look at us a little sideways if we're representing the so-called bureaucracy or the so-called government or those folks who supposedly care. Within that framework, there are people who care. But also in that framework, we've got George Santos. We've got people who just glory in the lie.
Yes.
And so the critical thinking,
yes.
It's unfortunate, but it's not new.
Mm-hmm.
It's not new. Critical thinking, education is our answer for dealing with ignorance and folks who want to just distract you from the truth so that they can manipulate you to their benefit. But it's Mother's Day. I appreciate your message. I love what you're doing. Pastor Nichols, I understand that, you've got to do what you do and get them to stop smoking at the same time, I'm all for it, brother. If we can get that, if we can make that happen. Listen, we're going to go on. I'm going to talk to people a little bit more about Mother's Day and a little bit more about the responsibility of taking care of ourselves so that we can.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate your organization, and we will definitely invite you back, hopefully to talk about something else, because people
Yes,
just threw their
that's
cigarettes
excessive.
away and
Yes.
decided not to smoke anymore. And
So the FDA is supposed to pull these products off the market in the whole U.S. this year. So please have me back when that happens.
very good. But meanwhile, we
That's
try
supposed
to
to happen.
talk to people.
Meantime, we do everything we can. We don't stop until it's done.
Get those people to leave that stuff on the shelf. This is Empire
Okay.
Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, I want to tell you about a great place to go for your Mother's Day buffet. We're going to talk to Miss Shiloh over at Cafe Organics and kind of get your taste buds bumping about what you could do later on this afternoon. God bless you. We're going to be right back.
I know we've got a long way to go.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
Ba-da-da. Yeah, this is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, here on the case for truth and justice with the right information to help improve the situation. I know that today is Mother's Day. I want to encourage you guys to have a great time on Mother's Day. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my mother in a moment. But meanwhile, yeah, is this Shiloh?
Hi,
Hi.
Dr. Wallace. This is Charlotte over here at Cafe Organics. How are you?
Very good. I understand you guys are having a party over there all day today.
We are. We do have Valentine on the keyboard and doing some guitar, live music, and then all you can eat vegan brunch.
Okay, so we got live music. We've got a beautiful Sunday and a Sunday on the Sunday, and you got a nice, beautiful patio right there at 420 East Hospitality Lane, and you
Yes, sir.
and you got the buffet today. So what's special about the meal today that you're giving? Because it's always great food over there. So what are you doing special for Mother's Day?
Well, we are 100% plant-based. No animal byproducts here at our cafe at all, but we have eggs, we have bacon, we have sausage, waffles, French toast. Our whole menu just bite-sized.
And it's all plant-based, though we can
Yes,
cook.
sir.
So we'll say sausage, we may even say chicken, but it's plant-based, right? And I just got off the, my message earlier was about tobacco and how terrible it is for you and unhealthy, blah, blah, blah. So to be able to send people over to a place where the food is delicious, and the flavor is amazing, and it's not, it's plant-based. So tell us what time your buffet is and how much it costs, and let's see if we can't get some folks over there to enjoy a good, healthy meal as well as a good tasting meal today.
Sure, yeah. So we're over here at 420 East Hospitality Lane, Suite A as an Apple 10 in San Bernardino, California. That's right off the I-10 and Hospitality Lane. Our all-you-can-eat brunch is $35 for adults. Children under 10 is $15, and everything is first come, first serve. So try to get here as soon as possible to get on that waiting list, okay?
Very good. No reservations available.
Nope.
Okay, so you got to get on over there, and I hope it's not a big line, but I hope it's a big line.
I think we're looking at about 30, 45-minute wait right now.
Okay, 30, 45-minute wait, and that's right now. And how late will you be going?
We see our last group at 1 o'clock, but we also have a live music, a jazz player, and comedy show this evening from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m.
That's afternoon. That's
Yeah,
not this evening.
yeah,
That's
we're doing
this
an evening
afternoon.
one.
Don't, if
Yeah,
you're gonna,
right.
yeah. And we don't have a
Not
Laker
all
game
you
today.
can eat. No, it's not all you can eat, but you will be able to come in and fill your plate. You do get 2 mimosas with the purchase of these tickets. It's $60 at the door. Pre-sale is over, unfortunately. But it's comedy. It's jazz. You can stay. There's no time limit on your table.
But you
Just
said
come out and see us.
all the tickets are sold already.
All of the pre-sale tickets are sold. But if you just want to come see the show, you can just buy a ticket to see the show and not have to get food.
Late again.
Okay. Again, we stop seating at 1 o'clock for our all-you-can-eat brunch. But we do have a live show with comedy, a saxophone player. It's going to be beautiful from 3 to 7 p.m. First come, first serve on seats with that as well. But if you just want to see the show, you can just buy tickets for the show, which I believe is $30 at the door.
All right, let me see if there's a hack for this. Is the band going to be inside or outside?
The band this evening will be outside.
Uh-oh.
Our live music today is inside.
Okay, so I could either say this while I'm on the phone with you, or I could say it after you're gone. But I could say that if he's going to be playing outside and it's really crowded in there, you could almost be parked across the street or down the street.
You better stop. Come and support. Don't listen to him. You better come and support a black-owned business out here. Bring your mom and show her you don't mind spending money on her. Come on. You better stop, Mr. Wallace.
Okay. All right. Okay. You pull. Whoo! I didn't mean to say that, but you know.
Or come by, at least buy a drink with us.
Come on in and buy a drink.
We got great cocktails. We got beer. We got wine. We got champagne.
Come dropping some money in the tip cup for the band or something. You know,
yeah, come see us.
Just,
I'm working on Mother's Day, and I got sick.
Oh, and happy Mother's Day to you, Miss Shiloh.
Thank you so much, sir.
Not a problem.
And happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there who can't make it.
Yeah, you're reminding me.
We love you all.
You're reminding me now. But I know you got to get back to work.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how it's going to work out, but we're gonna bum rush you about 3 o'clock. The Allens.
All right, well, come see us, okay? We'll talk to you soon.
All right, love you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
all right.
We love you guys, too. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
okay, guys, there it is. You know, even at the late date, there's something that can happen, and it's going to be a great time over there at Cafe Organics. Really great people, and I do advise that, you know, if you can't get in all the way in, it doesn't hurt to stop by and drop a few bucks in the tip cup or something. But, you know, people are people. And if I can hear the music from across the street, I probably will, especially if there's a bunch of people already there. And we want to have a great time today. This is a great time, a perfect day to do it. I want to talk a little bit about mothers. You know, first of all, the mother that has only one child is probably as busy with that one child as the mother who has 3 or 4 children. Because the mother with 3 or 4 children has kind of learned how to handle the kids, but spreading the love, that's the major thing. Now, my mother has 2 children, and I kiddingly tease my sister and say, well, yeah, but that's my love. I love her, mama loves her, and she makes us all feel like, you know, we're the super special one. I know she whispers in my sister's ear that she's the favorite, and she'll whisper in my ear that I'm the favorite. But that's because she had a father. My mother had a father, my grandfather. They had 12 children, and each and every one of them, if we could step to the side with them right now, and each one of them will say, yep, Papa loved me more than he loved the rest of them. Because that's the way he made them each feel. And how you can have 12 children and in the same room have them all think that I'm his favorite. That's how you give the love. And it's an amazing thing. Now, my mother was, you know, when we were growing up, my mother was the kind of person that, you know, if I brought home a new girlfriend, she would always call her by the wrong name. After a week or two, she'd still call him by the wrong name. And it was funny. It was, and it kind of, but I say that to say that my mother today those friends of mine that are still alive and kicking, they'll call my mom. They'll stop by and see her. We had the house that everyone was welcomed at. We had the house where you could stop by and eat anytime. You could stop by whether I was home or not, and my mother would treat you like you were her child. That has a reward to it. It has a reward that helps her avoid loneliness, that helps me feel a strength in knowing that there's other people who are helping me watch and love my mother. It's an amazing thing. Giving love is in itself rewarding because it pays you back as you enact the act. When I tell my granddaughter that I love her, I don't know how she feels, but I know it just makes me feel, oh wow, there she is, I love her. So mothers and those folks who've acted like mothers are part of the real fabric of who we are. I think if the mothers got together and went to Congress as mothers, we probably have a whole lot of things straightened out in a couple of days, because the commonness of the love that takes place from a mother to a child somehow gets diluted and moved around as we get older and start looking at other people and other people's children. But there's some magic that's available to us if we decide to use it. And I say it begins with the mother. I'm a father, but I really think mothers are more critical than the father. The things that the mother goes through during pregnancy, the attitudes, the feelings, the salutations, the morals of the mother tend to be able to attach themselves to the child. And if the father and if society stands correct and supports that, I think, we'll end up with more good people than we are people who are doubting the reason for being ethical, doubting the reasons for being fair, doubting the reasons for pushing equity and transparency to their friends and family. So we've got just like we've got night and day, I think we can expect that we're going to have understanding and misunderstanding. But the opportunity to come together and make sense out of it, we have that. We really do. And I'm encouraged by the thought that we have the ability to straighten things out and make them happen. So, Eric, today is Mother's Day. What are you going to do? How are you celebrating your Mother's Day? What are you up to?
Oh, me and my bigger sister, we're gonna have her over at.
Is your bigger sister
my
or older sister?
I guess older and
is she taller than you?
No, actually, yeah. So my older sister, yeah, we're gonna have her a little mimosa brunch at her house.
Yeah.
Beat the crowd at all the restaurants and everything like that. So I got some bottles of her favorite champagne is the Wilson's Creek. So I got a couple of those, and then there's these other ones. It's like it's the crime wines or whatever. Have you heard of these?
I don't think I have. The crime?
Yeah, they're like these wines that are all, every bottle's based on like a criminal, and then they have like some historical thing on the side of them. And I got a funny one that's a Martha Stewart one. So I got her that one.
So is that Martha Stewart wine influenced by her relationship with Snoop Dogg at all? Does it got any?
I think so, because you know what?
Cannabis in it.
Snoop Dogg actually has one as well. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think there's cannabis in this one.
Okay. Well, you never know.
Yeah.
You just never know. Well, the big thing about it is, where do you take Mom? What do you get her to do? My mother is 96 years old, 97. And when we are able to talk her into going out, she doesn't want to go to new places. Uh-huh. She wants to go to the places that she used to go to.
All right.
Okay, as she was coming up, because she's into nostalgia now. She remembers her old friends and remembers, where she used to go. So when we go out, we're ready to go spend some money on her, right?
Yes, yeah.
But no, she doesn't want that to happen. She wants to stop by the El Cholo. It doesn't cost a lot of money, but it's where we used to go all the time, where we spend time, where we would have a lot of events. There's a breakfast place that we went to yesterday to take her, and it's up at the Farmers Mart, but she loves it. She remembers being there with all of her friends. I think she must have mentioned about 4 or 5 good friends yesterday. Oh, and we would go here, we would go there. So we had a great day with my mother. As we have these great days, it also reminds us that there's going to be a day when she's no longer there. And folks, I want you to remember and think about that part of it as you think about the time that you have available to spend with mom now. Don't goof that off. Don't miss that opportunity. Don't just take it for granted, because one day that phone call's not going to go all the way through. And you don't want to be in a frame of mind that says, wow. And you're going to be. We all could have done better. We all could have done more. But do the best you can. Do more than you think you can, because it's going to be worth it. It's definitely going to be worth it. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We've got a couple minutes probably for you to contemplate and think about what we're going to do. But we're going to give you a little bit of music to do that with. So we'll see you next week under 2 circumstances. 1, the good Lord's willing. 2, the creek don't rise. Have a great day with your mom today. And call that auntie and that lady down the street who used to make you peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and make you feel good and, let you sit on the porch when mom wasn't home yet. So spread the love. It's out there for you. God bless you.
We're on the move. Yeah.
And put that cigarette down.
We've got the groove. Oh. There's been so many things that held us down. But now it seems like things are finally coming around. I know we've got a long way to go. Where we'll end up, I don't know. But we won't let nothing hold us back. Gonna put ourselves together. Gonna polish up our head. Hey. If you've ever been held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. Hey. Don't you let nothing stand in your way. I want you to listen to every word I say, every word I say. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move, yeah. Ain't no stopping us now. We've got the groove, we've got the groove, baby.
KCAA Loma Linda. The Legacy KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM.
The information and opinions you hear on the Del Walmsley radio show are those of the host, Del Walmsley, his guests, and his callers, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this station, its affiliates, its management, or advertisers. The Del Walmsley show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Del Walmsley show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.
Portions of the show may be previously recorded. Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del challenges the status quo, questions everything, and empowers you to return to your core beliefs to make your life better. If you're ready to hear the truth and get your roadmap to the lifestyle you really want, the next hour will change your life. And now, your host, self-made millionaire, national award-winning investor of the year, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, Del Walmsley.
Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. I'm your host, Del Walmsley, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. My friends, you listen to the news every day, and you get brainwashed. And I don't know which side you're listening to, if you're listening to the Fox News side or if you're listening to CNN side. But the bottom line is both sides are brainwashing you. Both sides have completely ignorant people that are the ones that produce and broadcast the news to us. These people, every one of them, I would take them on anytime, any place, anywhere, and communicate about life itself because they have no life. They work 12 hours a day, 4 or 5 to 6 days a week. They know nothing but the programming that their station gives them. They can't even get excited about life. They get neurologically twisted and out of shape when anybody disagrees with their version of the world and how it really works. And what's happening from all of this just wackazoid programming from both sides is that today's American male is lost. He's dazed, he's confused. He doesn't really know what he's supposed to be anymore. He doesn't know if he's supposed to be masculine or if he's supposed to be feminine. He doesn't know if he's supposed to be aggressive or he's supposed to be passive. He's lost, completely lost in society. But what is happening is that the people in our society have started to realize that they're lost. And they have started to come to the conclusion that living this life of quiet desperation isn't worthwhile. Now, the people that are actually coming to that conclusion the quickest are the young kids of our age group, that the younger generation, the XYZ, whatever generation you want to call these new generations, are seeing that their parents lived lives of quiet desperation. Yes, they had jobs. Yes, they had 401ks, they had savings accounts. Yes, they lived in a traditional family, at least most of them, unless you came from a minority family, which a lot of the minorities don't have fathers in there anymore. So that's a little bit of even more of a stretch. But the reality is that, what do you do? If you grow up in a family where there's no father, where divorce is very high, I don't know what the number is. I believe it's somewhere between 50 and 75% of all marriages end in divorce now. And I didn't look the number up. I should have. I'm just going off of old memories. I'll say at least 50% of people that get married get divorced. Or there's somebody like me who's on his third marriage. They try it and it didn't work. They try it again, it doesn't work. Try it again, hopefully it works. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's 4 or 5 and then works. The bottom line is that's because society has an unsustainable outlook or point of view for what a male is in our society. And as a male, we don't know what to do anymore. With the Me Too movement out there, we don't even want to talk to females. You don't want to talk to them at work. You don't want to talk to them on the street. You don't want to talk to them at the coffee shop. What do you do? And women more and more want to see men in purple and pink and color your hair and put, gauges in your nose and your ears and weird stuff. And the more whacked out and weirdo you are, the more they think that you're attractive in our society. Now, remember, this isn't everybody. This isn't my generation per se. It's our kids' generation and then their kids' kids. But what are they coming back against? They're coming back against a broken belief system. That broken belief system is the ones we grew up with, which is that working yourself to death is the absolute most positive thing you can do in life. And yet, as we've heard many self-help people say, and I've coined this statement before, I've never met a person on their deathbed saying, I wish I would have worked a few more hours. I wish I could have made a few more dollars. You just don't hear it. It's not what's really important in life. And so today I've got a couple of things here I want to share with you. I've got a couple of emails from people that are very insightful into the way people feel today. And then I have an article, which is part of the programming that we're putting up with. I probably could have found 100 articles. I just happened to see this one, pulled this one out because it just was an example of the point I'm trying to make today, which is people don't know what to do. Our younger generation doesn't know what to do. My kids have almost no work ethic at all. And they go, why? Dad doesn't work and he's a millionaire. Everybody else I know, all of the family on the other side of the family, they work like a dog and they don't have anything. These people work hard and have nothing. My dad doesn't work very hard and has everything. So how do I reconcile that? How do I believe that everything my teachers who are broke and unhappily married and have kids that are drug addicts, how do I believe these people whose lives are totally destroyed, yet they are the people held up for me to look to fashion my life after? How do I, in that scenario, in that world, how do I exist happily? That's the question everybody's asking. And they're not getting an answer, guys. They're not getting an answer. So today I want to go into a few of these things and point them out to you. The first one here is an email I got that started all this, stimulated all this question for me. And I'm not using anybody's names because these are real personal emails, but it says, on a separate note, as I get older and watch my little children grow, I realize more and more how I and just about every man I know grew up in a vacuum of knowledge on what being a real man is. My father brought our family to this U.S. from Soviet Union when I was a kid and worked his body broke supporting our family. Don't even know what that means, broke his body. Certainly, I consider him a great man, especially seeing things relatively. He's the reason I have the life and the opportunities I have now. However, in this incredible nation, I see very little of the effort my father undertook for his family in other men. As cliche as it sounds, it really seems most men are content to not mature, and in fact seems to be prideful of their ignorance. The debt, alcohol, and failed marriages and external procrastination are accepted as norm and are taught to our younger men. I don't know if you've ever intended your podcast to ever inspire men to want to become true men, but you definitely had the influence on me. Thank you once again. I appreciate whatever compliment he's given me, but I don't know what it is. Because I don't know what a true man is. Nowadays, they want you to be able to get in touch with your softer side, right? What is a real man anymore? We're not supposed to fight. We're not supposed to yell. We're not supposed to chase women. What is a real man anymore? Is it somebody who blindly closes their eyes and works themselves to death like this man spoke to about his father? Is that a real man? To destroy your life and work yourself to death? Is that a real man? What is a real man anymore? It's hard for us to pick that apart. If anybody wants to add to this conversation, I'd be happy to hear other opinions. My opinion, which is just one of 400 million people in our country, my opinion is simply, I don't know. And I don't think anybody else out there knows what it is to be a man anymore. It used to be if you're a man, you went in the military. It used to be if you're a man, you worked hard, got married, had kids, and supported the family. But men aren't supporting the family anymore. In fact, marriage is on the decline. Women want to be by themselves. It's a strange situation, my friends. When we come back, we'll go deeper and see if we can come up with what it means to be a real man. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
What does Del Walmsley, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, think you need to succeed in this market?
It's time to buy, and so you better get prepared, you better get educated, you better get your money right. You need to get involved because you're going to need the financing. You're going to need the vendors that we have available to us. You're just going to need the interaction with people. You need to immerse yourself into real estate.
Start your real estate immersion with the free workshop live online at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Your challenge is that you don't believe you can be rich, is that you don't believe you can retire within 5 years. That's half of your challenge. And until you can come up with that belief system, until you can reconcile that in your mind, you won't be willing to take the steps necessary to get there. So you need to get in here and meet some people.
Join us for the next free workshop and meet the people at Lifestyles Unlimited that will share Del Walmsley's belief system and empower you to take the steps you need to be successful. Register at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
I was at a seminar one time and a guy was sitting up there and he was saying, what you really need is you need the young, aggressive entrepreneur people to go out there and take that money and invest it with them. I walked up to the front of the stage and I said, hey, I'm that guy you're talking about that should be mentoring these people on how to do this. The guy goes, sir, we don't allow solicitation. And I said, no, you don't understand. I'm here to tell you I'm exactly the guy you were telling them to look for. And I'm willing to help them for nothing. And the guy goes, if you don't stop soliciting, I'm going to have security come and get you. And I said, I can see you're a scam. I'll just leave. Everything I said had gone through the intercom. So I walked out of the seminar room and 200 people followed me. And that's how Lifestyles was started.
Are you ready to get up and follow Del? Join us today at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
I'm Jeff Davis with Just a Thought. There's a belief among many of us that America is impervious to the kind of hell they've experienced in Venezuela. It is an incorrect belief. There are forces at work that suppress freedom. Consider the candidacy of Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. He has surged in the polls against Joe Biden, but Biden is the anointed one. YouTube, as an example, has blocked exposure of RFK Jr. because they say his comments on COVID violate their standards. Kennedy may have the most research on the subject when compared to the ideological stormtroopers at YouTube. When the party makes their decision, no one else has a chance. No matter how compelling Robert Kennedy Jr.'s brand of populism is, the media and the Democrat Party on their way to American financial Armageddon is so intense they will paint Kennedy as a conspiracy nut and Trump as a racist, even though there is no proof of either. Millions of Americans don't want to believe we are on the brink of a disaster, similar to Venezuela. People might say, it's not going to happen here until it does. Just a thought. I'm Jeff Davis.
Right now, we're coming upon a great opportunity. It's that time in which you're going to find that the marketplace is changing and it is shifting to a buyer's market away from a seller's market. Number one, the brokers don't want you to know that. They're going to do everything they can do to keep you from believing the truth. Number two, the sellers don't want to believe it, although in the back of their minds they know it. Now, that doesn't mean everybody will crater for you, but some people are going to be in those situations where they have to negotiate for deals, and you've got to be there. Now, if you're not there, you won't get one.
Join us for the free online workshop, and we'll show you how to be in the right place at the right time in any market cycle. Register at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com. lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com. That's lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
KCAA.
Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today we're covering a topic that someone sent to me, which was what does it mean to be a real man in our society today? And as I said in the last segment, there's really no answer for me. I have no idea what they expect out of men anymore. But I know what they expect out of human beings. And I know what I expect out of life. And I know that in life, you have to go after those things in life that are important to you and enjoy them when you find them. Life is a journey. It's not a destination, and if you don't enjoy the journey, then, you spent your entire life getting to someplace that really, in almost every case, will be some type of a anticlimactic letdown. And if you've ever had a goal in life, you've seen that happen. You got there and you go, boy, that's all there is. So if you can't figure out how to live life, so what I've done is I pulled up this Success magazine article. There we go. And it's called 10 Things That Exceptionally Successful People Do on Weekends. So it's interesting. I don't know what they do during the week, but exceptionally successful people do this on the weekends. It says it's one thing to be successful, and it's another thing to be exceptionally successful, right? But to attain a high level of success, you have to be willing to put in the work, because the theme of modern-day careerist is this: how do I get more done in less time? So while a lot of people see the weekend as a time to hang out and relax, exceptionally successful people have a different idea how Saturdays and Sundays should be spent. Here's how they spend their weekends to set the tone for a week of crazy productivity and work. Whew. That was hard just to read. Do you follow me? Here we are. We have the assumption that successful people are at work all week long grinding it out, right? Grinding it out. And then on the weekends, what are they going to do? And what this article basically comes down to is, well, we should grind it out on the weekend too. Before I read you this article, though, I want to read you an email somebody sent me. Again, I'm not going to give the name because it's so painful. But it was basically a questionnaire of, why did you join Lifestyles and, what got you involved here and so on and so forth, kind of roundabout. And I want to read this to you. And I know it's not appropriate to read things over the radio, but this is a little bit higher intellectual clientele. Our clientele is a little higher intellectually than people just want talking heads to spout off stuff to you. You have to be able to have a basis behind stuff. So this guy, and I don't want to just paraphrase it, because then I'm coloring the real pain that this guy is trying to share. It says, it was about 6 years ago that I first heard about Lifestyles Unlimited program on the radio. At that time, I thought it would be a really interesting idea, and I wanted to learn more, but I was going through an ugly divorce. There we go. And everything else in my life went to the back burner. I got through that, changed jobs, and moved on. I heard about the program again about a year ago when I was out to lunch and decided to investigate it. I am a true type B, and I spent time on net investigating Lifestyles, looking at various reviews. So he's saying, I'm skeptical, and I'm going to do some good research before I go get involved. But listen to what he's already explained to us. He went through a life of quiet desperation moment. Ugly divorce, not just a divorce, but an ugly divorce. And then it was so ugly that he had to change jobs and move. Wow. Is that what it means to be a man? It means to go get married into a relationship and a marriage that destroys you as a human being? Now you could say, well, Del, let's be fair. Maybe he's the bad party in the thing. Yeah, maybe he is. And let's say he is the bad party in the marriage. But where did he get his training manual? Where did the book on life come from? Did he follow what his dad did? Or did he follow some feminist written book about how a man should be a self-contained bag of feelings? How do you relate? How does society relate when social norms are changing and roles are changing in our society? He goes on and says, and he said, I said, what prompted you to decide to join up and get started? He said, well, I enjoy my job. I don't live for it. I work so that I can afford my out-of-pocket, out-of-work hours. I've never associated my identity with my job. I have dreamed of being able to spend more time with my children, my friends, and doing sorts of things that I want to do, like fishing, traveling, and hiking, etc. In an unrelated conversation with my mom a couple of months back, she said the most profound thing to me. Most people think that luxury is expensive cars and big homes. I think that luxury is being able to sleep late and the ability to do things that I want to do when I want to do them with whom I want to do them with. And I thought this was the most profound thing that I ever heard. I want you to remember that, because when we get into this, the world is telling you should be, it's not that. I have people that come through my program that are no longer in my program because they get to the other side where I've taught them how to become millionaires. And they become egomaniacal to where being a millionaire is no longer enough for them. They have to be a mega millionaire. They have to be the most, the biggest, the best millionaire of anybody you've ever heard. They've got to advertise and market themselves and make themselves seem important to everybody around them, because just being successful enough to get a life back is not important. It's more important to be busy 24/7, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, doing stuff to be more, quote-unquote, successful. Whereas this mother right here is saying, hey, none of that's success. Success is having the free time to do what you want to do with your friends. And I totally agree with her. Goes on and says, people always talk about 9 to 5. If I have to work, I'd love 9 to 5. I'd love 9 to 5. But the truth is, it's really 8 to 5. My boss is really a go-getter, and in this office, gets in the office early and leaves late. If I want to remain in his approval, my 8 to 5 has just turned into a 7:30 to 6:30. I have to go back to work after lunch, so I never really consider lunch my time. It's more like borrowed time and something I have to work through. Then I had a 1-hour commute each way on my job, and now I'm working from 6:30 to 7:30 a day. That's over half my day and no way to live. What's the point of being able to afford life out of work if you never get to live it? Additionally, I work on the oil gas industry, and the cyclical ups and downs are draining. I would like to exceed my current income so that I could just walk away from oil and gas if I wanted to when the company went under the next time. Security is really attractive to me. I'm looking forward to working with the team to build those passive networks. I'm excited to find building passive income, being able to spend more time with my children. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Del says the things you just can't say to your friends, boss, kids, financial planner, or your spouse. Need him to deliver the message? Don't worry. We podcast every broadcast. Go to DellOnTheRadio.com and turn up your speakers for everyone to hear. Del delivers his unconventional wisdom 24 hours a day at DellOnTheRadio.com. Need more unconventional wisdom that will set you free? Go to DellOnTheRadio.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
You can't be financially free if you're psychologically imprisoned by disabling belief systems.
Are you ready to break free from your disabling belief systems about money, real estate, retirement, and financial freedom? Then join us for Lifestyles Unlimited's live online free workshop. Learn the belief system that thousands of people like you have used to break free from corporate America and create the lives they have always wanted. Register at LifestylesUnlimitedFreeWorkshop.com.
What is Del Walmsley, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, up to in today's market?
I'm out there right now looking and buying everything I can get my hands on for a better deal than what I could get it for a week before. And I'll just keep buying. I did that back in 2008. I bought a property worth $35,000 a door. I bought it for $26,000 a door. Next month or so, I bought the same age property, and I bought it for like $19,000 a door. But by buying at 26 when they were getting killed from 35 down to 26, buying at 26, let the broker know I was a buyer in a downward spiraling market. And so from that point on, I bought 3 or 4 more. I can't remember exactly. I think it was 4 more I bought from there. And the brokers were just bringing them to me. Go, look, you seem to be the only guy buying right now.
Are you ready to take advantage of the wave of opportunity coming to those who know what they're doing? Join us for the free online workshop at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
This is KCAA. Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today we're discussing an almost impossible topic, which is what does it mean to be a real man in today's society? And since I don't have any real answer to that question, I'm looking at what different factions of our society are trying to get you to believe. And the hypothesis that I'm trying to present to you is that because the general society out there is telling people such ridiculous stuff that the kids that are growing up today, the younger people, younger than me, are seeing life as something where socialism would probably be a good idea. In other words, working hard to get ahead, like this gentleman was saying that his dad did, that most of us did, worked hard to get ahead and so forth, doesn't mean anything. And that it really is just a social construct that is outdated. Nowadays, people should do as little as they possibly can, and at the same time, they should expect the government to take care of them from cradle to grave, which is what you're seeing if you listen to the socialist, far-left political extreme group that's out there right now. That's where we're going, right? And since they're growing up and there's more of them being born and we're dying off and there's less of us going to be around, they're going to win. It's going to happen eventually, and socialism will hit the United States of America. And there will be the very, very elite people, and they will be rich because they're elite, and then there'll be everybody else, which will be basically in poverty. And so that's where we're going. We know that's where we're going. You know that's where we're going. There's no way to stop that because there's more younger people and they're bringing more illegal aliens in. So there's more people at the bottom to vote out those people at the top's ideas, right? So what I've been doing today here is I'm just going through why is this gentleman saying that he's seeing these younger people think this way? Because the younger people are smart enough to know that the lies they've been fed didn't work for their parents. And since it didn't work for their parents, they're not going to believe the lies themselves. So let's go ahead and read this success article, 10 things exceptionally successful people do on the weekends. Now remember, this is the weekend after you've already worked, like the gentleman wrote in his article. He's working from 6:30 in the morning till 7:30 at night. He leaves the house at 6:30. He's home by 7:30. He's already given up his entire day, 5 days a week. So I read on. What do? Number one, they wake up early. Apple CEO Tim Cook is said to wake up at 3:45 every morning, including on weekends. It's wrong to assume because it's a weekend you need to stay in bed until midday. Successful people still get up early because they know time is precious and shouldn't be wasted no matter what day it is. There you go, guys. Right now, we're giving you something to believe. Get up every day of the week at 3:45. Whew, man, your parents struggled to give you a better life. We all struggle to give ourselves a better life. And even so, what we need to do now is to have no life, right? Monday through Friday and on the weekend. This guy gets up at 3:45. Number two, they read, you cannot negate the power of reading. Okay? Reading and staying abreast of what happens in the travel industry, which is what he works in, puts me in position to discover those things the competition apparently doesn't or know about. So what we're talking about here is, hey, I have a job, I have a profession. I need to be reading every day to stay on top of my profession. Probably not a bad idea for a successful person. All right? But again, it's a lot of work to stay on top of any particular subject that you're going to stay on top of. Number 3, spend time to reflect. As Socrates says, by the way, I'm sorry, and that was on the weekend, right? There's no time during the week to read, so let's take our weekend and read about what? About what we're enjoying, our hobby? No, we're reading about work. Remember, this is what we do on the weekend. We're going to read about our work. We've just done 6:30 to 7:30, 6:30 in the morning to 7:30 at night, Monday through Friday. Now, Saturday and Sunday, we get up at 3:45 and we read about our work. Okay. Number 3, spend time to reflect. Socrates says, unexamined life is not worth living, and successful people follow the philosophy using the weekends to look back at the work week. By reflecting on your week, you can focus on the improvements you need to make. The improvements you need to make on next week starting Monday. There it is. We're going to spend our whole weekend mulling over what we did last week and mulling over what we're going to do next week. Whew. I'm exhausted just explaining this to you. I hope you see that our kids are hearing this and they're going, there's no way. This is insane. Number 4, they make time to pursue your interests. Successful people know chasing success shouldn't mean they don't have to forget their favorite hobbies. A weekend offers you the opportunity to be creative, whatever it is you like to do most of your time. Well, that's nice of them. You can give us a little hobby time. Number 5, they give something back. Okay. I don't even know what it says on here. It just basically says that 70% of successful people give something back. And I believe in that too. See, at least 5 hours every month they're giving something back. They're donating their time. Again, so I'm trying to figure out how you get all this in. I guess you get up at 3:45 in the morning. Number 6, they disconnect. Successful people know they have carved out downtime where they put away the phone and don't check emails. I don't believe anybody does that one. The weekend is the most ideal time to do this. I don't believe any successful people completely turn off all this stuff, although I do. And the way I do it, and the reason I do it is because I leave my phone on the charger somewhere, and I have a giant house, and I walk around, and there's no way I can hear the phone. And I have no idea. I see that people called me or emailed me or whatever, and I get back to them, but I don't carry it around with me, and so I miss a lot of in-the-moment type things, so my life isn't driven by every time. My phone doesn't make me jump, in other words. Connect with your family. Weekends might offer a busy, successful person enough time to spend with their family and friends. Might, I like that. Might offer time for busy people to spend some time with their family and friends. Might. Get that, right? Number 8, they stay in shape. Exercise can be refreshing. Come on, guys. Don't be ridiculous. You can't work out on Saturday and Sunday and stay in shape. That doesn't make any sense at all. Exercise has to be every day. Spending time with your family and friends has to be every day. Disconnecting, you need some of that every day. These are things you should be doing Monday through Friday, not on the weekend. Number 9, they build momentum. Successful people don't settle for average. There you go. They're always focused on excellence by keeping up the momentum. The weekend is a good time to put things in perspective and gain clarity, to refocus on your most important goals. There we go. We're back to focusing on Monday through Friday and our goals, because we just don't put enough time in it 6:30 to 7:30 during the day every day. That's not enough time to focus on our goals. We got to do it on the weekend so we can maintain momentum. And number 10, they plan for an upcoming week. I guess that's what we just said. You work 16 hours Monday through Friday. Get this. Jack Dorsey has an insane work ethic. He works 16 hours Monday through Friday. That's exactly what this other guy just said. But he makes sure his schedule allows him to take off Sunday or Saturdays, and he uses Sundays to plan for upcoming week. Need I say more? There it is, guys. He's spending his Sundays to plan for the next week, his Saturdays to review what he did last week. Does anybody even have a life anymore? I mean, I'm asking a question. Does anybody even have a life? Now, the real point I'm getting to here is that, okay, we know that's the way most people live. They live a life of quiet desperation. They get up every day and go to work and work their butt off and never really enjoy life. We get that. But the real question is, what do you tell your kids? Do you tell your kids the same lie, and do you think they believe your lie? And that's why this